My fellow Americans, the State of the Union is good. Yes, spring brings hope eternal to every baseball fan around the world. Here in Dbacks land, our hopes are as high as Cody Bellinger on 420. With recent additions like Grando Grichuk in the last month, our squad is seemingly complete. We have a few positional battles left, though, to decide, such as our fifth starter and our backup shortstop. The fight for the fifth spot is between Tommy Henry and Ryne Nelson, who both have taken up the challenge, going blow for blow in every outing. I personally have Uncle Blazer himself, Blaze Alexander, taking that last spot after he's really shown out this spring. But there's some unfortunate news, as Christian Walker and our sweet young king, Alec Thomas, have been nursing some injuries and should hopefully not take too long to recover. But it's not all bad news. Big Cock Jock showed why he's earned that nickname when he announced the birth of his new baby a couple days ago. So, congrats to the Peterson family. We also got to see the new black alternate uniforms in action, and I'll say I am absolutely in love with them, other than the fact that the lettering kind of looks like they're whispering their names at you or something. We've also avoided seeing the players' Honda Ridge lines and monster dongs because of the incredibly thin see-through pants that Fanatics have rolled out this spring. There's also the seeming return to the glossy helmets that are brighter than my future instead of the matte ones. And in conclusion, a week or so ago, the worst part of D-Backs Twitter was excited by the potential return of a player in his mid-30s with the career 3.8 ERA who hasn't thrown a major league pitch in 3 years. When Trevor Bauer tagged the D-Backs in a Twitter video of him striking out a paid actor who looked worse than Bartolo Colon. But these rumors were pretty quickly put to bed when skipper Torey Lovello said he personally vets every single guy in the front office takes an interest in to make sure that they fit the vibe of the clubhouse. And just like your guy friend who calls women females, Trevor Bauer did not pass the vibe check. I'm just glad that I don't have to see his awkward sword season celebration every fifth day. And if I can offer some advice to Mr. Bauer, it's that whoever lives by the sword shall die by the sword. Thank you, America, and good night.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. That was, oh my god,
Gabe was cooking a whole 10-course meal out here. Jesus,
dude,
man.
just roast. Oh my god, the one on Cody Bellinger had me freaking dying,
The
dude.
big cock jock one. That was my favorite.
I mean, it fits. It fits. Dude,
Wonderful
that a kid. Everyone, thanks for tuning in here to D-Backs Dispatch. Gabe with a great opening to today's show with the Gabe of the Union address. I mean, he really kind of went over what we're really going to talk about today. The number 5 starter, how Blaze is blazing about, really. We're going to talk some minor injuries that I think everyone completely overreacted to, because most of them the next day it wasn't really a big deal. But no, I'm very excited for the show today. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future content. We are approaching 100 subscribers here on YouTube, so we would appreciate it if we can. It'd be great if we get there before opening day. Like, I think that would be a fantastic achievement for us. Sorry. Yeah, I think it'd be a fantastic achievement for us if we could get there before opening day. But without further ado, we're going to move on to our first topic, which has been a topic of discussion all off season. What are the Diamondbacks doing with the number 5 starting pitcher? I said all off season that I'm okay with the current players that we had. I would have liked them to get someone else, but looks like it is not. Technically, it was like a 3-4 horseman race, but really right now it's a 2-person race. Tommy Henry versus Ryne Nelson. And it's weird. Like, it goes back and forth. Every time Henry starts, I'm like, oh, this is Tommy Henry. And then Ryne Nelson comes out and goes 2 innings and has 5 strikeouts. So it's just like, this is, for me, it's going to go back and forth with every start. And I think it was Gabe who said in our group chat, whoever has one blowout inning, they're going to the pen. Like, that's literally what it's going to be. Like, I think both of them will make the opening day roster. One's a starter, one's the long man out of the pen. So let's just start with Gabe. What are your thoughts on the Nelson and Henry battle?
It's like I was saying in the group chat. Yeah, it's like whoever has their first blow up their spring is just like it's who's gonna end up in the bullpen because they're both what at 5 innings, right? 5 6 innings. They haven't given up a run yet. They've been striking out guys left and right. Like they have looked really really good this spring, and I know it's just spring, so I don't know if we're gonna talk about it later, but with the Rod and the other guys who fought also getting blown up a bit. Um, these stats don't necessarily mean much. What matters more is how their actual pitches are looking, um, how they're tunneling, how they look on the plate. But I really, really like both of them. I don't know what they're going to do. I would honestly would rather have Ryne Nelson in the bullpen just because he was a little more prone to having innings where he would give up 3 or 4 runs last year. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he did such a great job in the World Series, mopping up the bullpen game. So I think we should have Henry just so we can have 2 left-handers instead of just the one. But either way, I think it's just going to come down to whoever messes up first.
Brett?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much fully agree with what Gabe said. I really like the balancing of having another left-handed pitcher in the bullpen. Just kind of makes it a little bit more of a difficult decision for the opposing manager. They don't have to worry about, oh, cool, we got like 3 straight right-handed starting pitchers like going here, and then like the one lefty. Like it is nice to have it break up a little bit. I have their stats. Nelson obviously has given up the 1 run on the Lee homer yesterday. That was, not gonna lie, impressive. I didn't realize Lee had like that kind of power in him. Like I knew he was like a gap hitter, but Nelson the 1 run, but he does have a lot more swing and miss, as he does have 10 strikeouts over his 5 innings, where Henry has 4. I believe Henry has 1 walk. Nelson has 0. So again, it's one of those where one guy is like slightly better in this category, and then the other guy's slightly better in this category. So there's really no like clear front runner. Like they're both kind of at the front of the pack. I just would prefer Tommy in the starting rotation. Like I feel he just has a better repertoire and showed last year, especially whether it's at home or on the road, he could go out there and give you some consistent innings where, again, Ryan could, it's a brand new season. He could change completely and entirely. But Ryne Nelson was not good at home last year. But the one bullpen appearance that he had in the World Series at home, he went 5 2/3 scoreless. So maybe it's one of those where the bullpen is where he's like thrives better out of, like those, like you're saying, those shorter spurts where he doesn't have to worry about 5-6 innings, and he has that 1 blow up inning in the 5th or 6th inning, and next thing you know, it undoes all of the good that he worked up for those 5 innings.
Yeah, I like the whole, because right now our 5 stars are Gallen, Kelly, Erod, and Fott, which, so you go righty, lefty, righty. I like lefty. Like I like Tommy Henry.
Because if you don't, you're gonna have 4 righties in a row.
Yeah, in terms of matchups, I don't like that as much. Henry will never be a guy that strikes dudes out. That's not his thing. He's a crafty lefty. He gets you with off speed and breaking balls. That's what he does. If you look at more advanced numbers, so Nelson has faced 19 batters. Henry has faced 17. Henry's only thrown 37 pitches. Nelson's thrown 79.
Yeah, that's
so.
Henry has the
Nelson still has that issue of not putting guys away.
Yeah,
and I think Henry's a crafty lefty, and Nelson's a flamethrower. I think a flamethrower does better out of the pen because he can go 110 for 2 innings and be fine. You do that as a starter, you're going to be flaming out in the 4th.
Yeah.
So,
also, like as a bullpen, we don't really have anybody who strikes people out other than Ginkle. Most of our bullpen arms are, ground outs and
fly balls.
Contact. Yeah. So, like even Ryan Thompson, who we have out of the pen, he gets a lot of ground outs. Salfrank gets a lot of ground outs. Seawald gets pop ups and fly outs. So it's like we need a guy who can come out of the bullpen to strike people out because. If you have bases loaded, 1 out or no outs, like, what are you going to do? You need a guy who can come out there, get 3 strikeouts potentially, or else you're going to get a guy who might get a strikeout, will for sure get a double play, but just depends on where they get the double play at. But we need a guy in the bullpen, and I think that should be Nelson coming in, just throwing 97, 98, even up to 100, just depending, because if he has, a shorter time frame to work with, if he can get it up to a 98, 99, like, I think he would be perfect in the pen.
I'd also like to see more strike. Like, again, you can't just have like, oh, I'm going to strike out this guy on this pitch. That's not how baseball works all the time. But I believe most of his strikeouts for Nelson out of his 10 have been on the fastball. And again, it's nice to see him just missing bats in general more. Like, he's been getting a lot of whiffs. But it would just be nice to see a little bit more. And I don't have the amount of whiffs on his slider. I believe he has gotten a pretty decent amount so far. It would just be nice to see that number kind of increase slowly. Because again, that was his big, like you said, Brandon, his put, like, he can get guys to 0-2 and then they'll foul a pitch off and then he'll be
3 or 4 foul balls. And that's what drives me crazy.
Yeah. Like, it's like a little Robbie Ray where like they'll foul it off and then like he tries to blow it by guys throwing as hard as he can and then yanks it up or out of the zone for 2 pitches in a row. Next thing you know, it's 2-2, 3-2. He's got to fight, either loses him or has to keep it in the, like, literally pepper it in the zone for guys that are expecting it. To where if you can get a little more swing and miss on his slider, I would really, really like to see that from him, especially like you said, we don't have a lot of swing and miss arms out of the bullpen, especially with Dre going to be sidelined for a while. I think Nelson would just – I've always felt Nelson just is a better option out of the pen. Like you said, he can go 110% for those 2-3 innings and not have to worry about, like, having a blow-up like start or blow-up spot if you need to. He can eat a few more innings where on a day in the middle of the season when you've used your bullpen a bunch, like, because God forbid there's always going to be a starter that has a blow-up start. You can throw him in there for 3 innings to, like, eat some innings and save Thompson, Ginkel, Sewald, some of those guys.
Yeah. If Nelson can develop one of his secondary pitches, his curveball or his slider, he would be because that's what a bullpen guy is. They have 1 or 2 really good pitches.
Yeah.
Like,
look at Ginkel. Look at Sewald. Like, look at Thompson.
Ginkel is his fastball and his slider. That's literally all he throws, and that slider is nasty.
Is it a slider or is it a slider, a curve, or a slurve? Because I've heard, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then Fott has his fastball and his sweeper. Like, that's what Fott has.
Yeah, he has his changeup and his curveball. I mean, his fastball is good too, but his changeup and his curveball are his 2 best. Merrill's
like, I just think for him to be successful, I think Nelson would be better just developing that secondary pitch as a bullpen. Because if you only have 2 good pitches as a starter, these players just have to look for 2 pitches.
Yeah. The
heater and then the breaking ball. So my personal choice is Tommy Henry 5, Nelson out of the pen. It would be odd.
Either one, though.
Yeah, like, I feel like you could go either one. So
lineup just submitted. Let's see who's playing.
Yeah, looks like they just submitted today's lineup where they're playing the Angels today.
Can't find it on their Twitter.
So we got Marte, McCarthy, Jock, Chaparro, Lawler, Barnhart, Newman, English, and Baroza. So mixture of guys that will be on the opening day roster, some maybe, and then some in minor league. Why don't we just go ahead and transition to talking about who I think is the player of spring training so far for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Blaze Alexander. Blaze Alexander has looked phenomenal. Like, it is, like, I'm just in awe of watching him play. He has 15 at-bats, 7 hits. He's batting .467. And he's playing phenomenal defense, too. I have updated my opening day roster. I put Blaze in, and I took out Jace. Like, that's who I had temporarily as, like, the 5th infielder was Jace Peterson. But after watching Blaze play so far, I'm like, it's Blaze.
Yeah.
Like, Blaze, like, we know Blaze can play second and short, and that's what we need for that fifth infielder. Is we need someone to play to give Cattell a day off or Perdomo a day off. I'm hoping Blaze can play third too. If Blaze can play all 3 of those, and he continues what he's doing, he's going to force them to have him on the opening day roster.
Literally, yeah, he's going to make it to where,
Hmm.
especially
Like
he's seasoned enough to where you can't keep him in the minors for much longer.
No. So, Gabe, your thoughts on blazing with Blaze?
Yeah. I think the only issue I would have, I guess, with Uncle Blazer is just the fact that he doesn't walk a lot. He hasn't had a walk so far in spring, but he also cut down his strikeout rate, which is one of the biggest issues with him in the minors. So he only has 2 strikeouts this spring. So if he can keep that up, if he can work a couple of walks right now, I think he's probably going to earn that spot, especially with Jace going down. And it probably will be him, especially because I guess Rivera will probably be on the opening day roster just because he doesn't have any options left. So either they put him on there or they kind of have to cut him. But yeah, I think Blaze is just incredible. And then, as I said a few weeks back, it's like we're running out of time with him as well. If we don't put him on the roster, he should be Role 5 eligible pretty soon, I think. So I would love to see him up and playing behind Perdomo or giving Cattell a day off his feet or whatever they just need him to do. I would love to see him out there.
Right.
Yeah, looking it up, so he can play third base technically. He played 4 games at third base last year. Looks like didn't have like any years. Looks like he had like 1 ball hit to him, so he can play third if we need him, which is a good thing. It's always nice to have depth. But yeah, dude, Blaze is killing it. Like watching him in person last night, he was really smooth at second. I know he's been a shortstop for most of like his time in the minors, I believe, but he was really smooth at second. He was super fast, like that speed. I knew the Dbacks had a lot of young, fast guys. I didn't realize how fast Blaze was. I'm really interested to see some StatCast data on like sprint speed and all that if he does make the majors. But it just hits the ball all over the field. Like those 2 clips, he was able to pull the ball when he needed to. If he needs to rifle it back up the middle, he will. If he gets a pitch up and away that he can slap into the right center gap, like he'll do it. So it's really impressive seeing it from him. And yeah, it's gonna suck because it's gonna leave somebody as the odd man out, whether it's like Kevin Newman, Jace Peterson, Emmanuel Rivera, maybe even 2 of those guys, depending on like if they obviously keep Pavin if he gets one of the roster spots. It's gonna be interesting, but it's nice to see something like this where Blaze wasn't even like guaranteed a spot. Like he's probably gonna be like that. Kevin Newman and Jace Peterson and Rivera would be probably going into the spring above him on that depth chart. There's no way that if the spring training ended today, there's no way you can't have Blaze Alexander in the minors. He needs to be on, with the way he's playing in these 2 weeks, he needs to be on the MLB roster, at least in some fashion.
And I was just thinking about it. I don't know if we need him to play third because Suarez literally plays every day. So we may not even need him to play third, but it's nice in the event that Torrey wants to give Suarez a day off. They could put Blaze
speaking of, I don't know if you saw, Suarez actually did, I believe, an interview where somebody asked him about that, and he was like, "Oh, I already spoke to Torrey," and basically told him, like Suarez told him, like, "You don't want to see my face on a day where you have to tell me that I'm out of the line." So I'm going to be playing like and again, Torrey makes a decision, so Torrey's probably going to have to get that. All right, Gino, like I get it. You're just going to have 1 day. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the day where we see Suarez chasing Torrey through the clubhouse, being like, no, I'm not sitting a game.
Yeah, I can see him having about 150 days. I don't think he's going to play all 162, probably 150.
No, I don't think any Dbacks player under Torrey Lovullo's tenure, maybe other than Goldie and Walker, have gotten even close to like 160.
Yeah.
John, imagine benching Suarez and Walker on the same day. We may hear of a murder at the D-backs clubhouse. In the
going to be on the like Torrey's going to be on his bench, managing the game. Walker on one side, Suarez on the other, just like staring at the entire time, be like, "When are you gonna put us in? When are you gonna put us back in there? Huh? You gonna throw us in there? You gonna set us in the game?"
As soon as any ball gets through Pavin or whoever's at third, it's like
they're just staring at him.
See him.
It's like, see, this is what happens when you bench us. But Blaze isn't the only one that's having a good spring. Alec has, and Gabe pointed it out. I think he's pointed out like at least twice what Alex is doing with his foot. Like he's definitely made an improvement, and we're seeing the benefits of it. Alec has looked. I I said Alec.
You said it. You said it the second time.
Son of a. Sorry, Alec. If you're watching this, I'm trying. I'm really, really trying. It's very hard when the way that it's spelled. So, and it's just the force of habit. But Alec has looked really, really good. If this man hits 250, watch out because we know what he does defensively. And if we get postseason power, Alec. Good look. Like this offense is even more deadly because he's probably going to hit in the bottom line. He's probably going to hit 7 through 9. And I think Alec should. Alec, I know Toy's going to sit him against lefties, but I want Toy to give him an opportunity to face lefties so that he can get better. That's the one issue I have with a lot of managers with lefty hitters is they don't give them a chance. Like. Let them work on it. Like the only way they're going to get better is if they face them.
He hit a had a really nice couple at bats against Montgomery in the World Series too, and he's a tough lefty. Like Montgomery was making Yordan Alvarez look like a cakewalk in like the ALCS, and Alec Thomas. Again, it's very different. Just because Yordan looked easy doesn't mean Alec Thomas is better than him because he got a hit off Montgomery. But it's just still great signs to see. Like in the postseason, he was hitting lefties. I believe his dad even pointed out before. Where he's like, "Hey, I'm a lefty. Like Alec faced a lefty throwing to him like his entire life, like BP and all that. Like, it's not like he can't face lefties. It's not like he doesn't see lefties ever. And it." Like in that clip, it's nice to see him just going the other way, not trying to just yank the ball, like going where it's pitched, getting a good barrel on it. It's really encouraging.
Yeah,
Gabe?
He's looked really good. I think he really did rework a little bit of his swing to have his feet a little bit more steady. But you're talking about the left-handers, like not facing other left-handers. This is something that starts since they're kids. Like nowadays, it's literally just. If a kid is in T-ball or not even T-ball, the little leagues and stuff like that, they don't face left-handed pitching anymore, like at all, because they're like, oh, well, if they don't do good, I'm like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, yeah, of course, if he never sees left-handed pitchers, and they're not going to do good against them when they go up to the major leagues. And it seems like this year they're working a little bit towards that, putting guys like Carroll and Jock and Alec against left-handed starters early in this spring, even facing off against Yumin Lin as well. So it seems like they're going to try to make them, more of an everyday player. Maybe try to get Alec out there 140 days instead of, like 100. Like he's not a platoon player. He should never be a platoon player. If there's a left-handed pitcher, screw it. Like put him in number 8, number 9 in the lineup. Let him work through it.
You got to have his defense out there.
Yeah, it's like he's too necessary, especially with the Dodgers who are going to win, 120 games this season. Like you got to give these guys a chance to,
and then they won't win another game after the season ends.
But you got to give the D-backs a chance to have their best out there every single day, even especially with the defense. Because as great as Corbin Carroll is out there, Alex is a Gold Glove caliber player. So if he's out there and he's going to make these catches, he's going to surprise us. He's going to, look incredible doing it. So I just hope he's able to at least, be 245, 250, whatever. Just, not being a net zero offensively. But I don't know. I think he looks really good so far. He's going the other way. He's, really working the counts.
Yeah, he's doing really, really good. Jordan Lawless looked pretty good too. But unfortunately, the way Blaze is playing, and also Lawler's 20 years old. So I think he just needs a little bit more time there in Reno. Perdomo doesn't have a hit this spring, by the way. So that has me a little worried, slightly.
Corbin didn't get his first one until last night, which again, he was also got, I think he had 2 off of
2 yesterday, right?
2 off of 2.
Yeah,
I think he went
3.
So I saw something that said he went 3 for 3. I don't remember seeing the third hit. I know I saw obviously 2 of them. I could have just barely missed.
I mean, he does have 3 hits in spring.
Yeah, and okay, that was yesterday then. Yeah, so yeah, he went 3 for 3. I believe 2 of those were off of a lefty, and the third one was when they brought him a lefty.
Yep, he went 3 for 3. Yes, he brought his average from 0 to like 280. Love to see it. So another player that may, if he continues to rake the way he has been, D-backs signed him to a minor league deal like 10 days ago. Kyle Garlick hit 2 homers yesterday. 2! That is absolutely ridiculous. Jake is 3 for 15 in spring with 4 strikeouts. Now, he does have a stolen base.
And that double was really fucking hot. Or that
Yeah.
I think it was a double. Or it was a triple. I don't remember. I think it was a double, yeah.
Yeah, like Jake. Yeah, Jake has a double. Jake, you better be careful. Like, I want Jake to do good, but he, for me personally, is on extremely thin ice on a very short leash. So he's gonna have to look really amazing the next. Still have like 3 weeks of spring ball left, so he does still have some time to impress Hazen and the coaches to see is he worthy of that opening day roster. I currently have Jake on my opening day 26, just mainly due to tenure. But unless he continues to struggle, or if Kyle Garlick just continues to hit bombs, that's probably how I see it. Gabe, what are your thoughts on Kyle Garlick?
He's been really impressive, although I guess the issue with him would be just the fact that his career numbers don't really back up what he's been doing in the spring. But, it could be a new revamped Kyle Garlick, or this could just be him on a bit of a hot streak for a week, and then he cools off the next 3 weeks, and then he's like, oh, yeah, there he is. And then Jake takes his spot again. But he's looked good. Hopefully, things can work out for him, whatever it is, and then see him in the majors.
Brett, your thoughts on Kyle Garlick?
Say again, like I didn't really know too much of him. I've always heard of him through the MLB, the show, Battle Royale, stuff like that. Always knew he had decent power. I think we talked about it before. Less than 400 at bats, but still has like I think 17, something like that, home runs. So pretty decent power. So it'd be nice to it's always nice to have extra depth in the minors. So even if like he doesn't make the opening day roster, there's always changes and always like things happening throughout the season, injuries, send downs, people that are struggling. So it's not a bad pickup. I think it's going to be a little bit tough for him to get that 5th spot. Like I just feel like with all the outfielders, like it is going to make it tougher for Jake. I agree. But I don't know if it's fully like I think he'd have to have a really nutty spring to really make the team. But hey, any extra power on that bench, I'm okay with.
Yeah, because you never know when you're going to need it late in the game. You're going to need that pinch hitter, and you're going to need some pop there. So I'll definitely keep an eye on Kyle Garlick. I mean, he looks, to be honest, looks like Pavin. He looks like Pavin. Like, if you actually take a look at Kyle Garlick in the face, looks like Pavin, except Garlick has power. Pavin really doesn't. That's the one thing about Pavin that drives me crazy is he's average at everything. So he's not awful, but he's not amazing at one tool, which is what was like, just choose one. Like if he had a good arm or good contact, good power, good, like just one of them, I would be okay. And Pavin is also on my opening 26. Only because he can play first. Like that's literally the only reason that I have him there.
Oh my God, Josh!
More like an onion than a person. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but there is, unless you guys have anything else on Garlic.
I just had a bit of I don't know, trivia ish. So Kyle Garlick was playing with Minnesota these last couple of years. His last name is Garlic. The Twins also had another player named Garlic, but in German. Do you guys know who that player is?
No.
Borderline Hall of Famer. I'll say that.
Oh, Joe Mauer?
No. Mauer means wall in German, but Chuck Knobloch.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I
Double
thought you meant
block.
like a recent player that he
No.
played
Yeah, that's
with.
why I was like, that's way before my
No,
time for me. I was like, I don't.
I
even
mean,
know.
Knobloch,
I've not pulled
it's pronounced Knoblauch in German, so that just means garlic. So, yeah.
But no, there's one more player that I mean, Brett was the one that really brought him up. I really hadn't really known how good he did. I mean, he's pitched 2 innings. He has 5 strikeouts in 2 innings. Kyle Backus, who the Diamondbacks decided to do a minor league deal back in 2021. So, Brett, floor is yours for Mr. Backus.
Say it's been really nice to, because again, I haven't really seen too much video on him. I knew we had him in the minors, I believe. I don't remember exactly when we got him, if it was in like a pickup deal, trade, whatever. But I really like the funky arm angle. It kind of adds to like last year with that. I think they did the overlay of all the D-backs like bullpen pitchers where they all had like these different like arm slots to where it adds another, like instead of like imagine a Ryan Thompson over here on the right side, now you got one on the left side. It was, I don't know, like I'm just really liking what I'm seeing out of him. I'm learning I'm a slut for anything lefty, whether it's a person with a good lefty swing or a pitcher that just has some either funky lefty delivery or just some smooth like lefty stuff. So I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing out of Backus, and I think he'd be a really solid addition to the bullpen, especially to replace have him, Saul Frank, Mantiply as your lefties. I'm really I'm happy about that.
So, like, who would you take out?
That's
Like,
that's where it's tough because like you don't have.
I currently have Sewald, Ginkel, Thompson, Castro, Saul Frank, Mantiply, and Nelson. That's my bullpen.
Yeah, that's kind of where it's a little bit tough. Where I think and I don't think they'll cut Castro. There's no way. But
no,
even if Backus doesn't make the opening day bullpen, it would be nice to kind of like have him as a guy to keep an eye on, especially if he can put up some solid numbers in Reno out of the pen. I think it'd be pretty nice. Oh, but yeah, here. It's probably speed.
They signed him just to a straight minor league deal back in July of 2021. And he got assigned to Reno back in August of last year, but it looks like he spent most of the time with Amarillo.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, I think keep him down in the minors, and if Mantiply and Saul Frank struggle, there's your lefty to bring out. But I don't know if you need 3 lefties in a bullpen. I think 2's fine.
Maybe if Mantiply doesn't, because again,
that was the one thing I was thinking is if Mantiply doesn't pitch well, like, are we getting 2023 Mantiply or are we getting All-Star 2022?
Oh yeah, 2022, not 21.
So if we get 22 Mantiply, dude, he's so good. Like, can you imagine if we get that plus Thompson and Ginkel? Game's over once we go to the 7th and then the Diamondbacks have the lead. Like, that's what's going to happen if we get 2022 Mantiply. I mean, we can just discuss it real quick. There were some minor hiccup injuries for like 36 hours that everyone was flipping out on with Christian Walker and Suarez, but literally the next day they were both fine. So I was like, way to overreact, Dbacks Twitter.
The Walker one, I mean, I wouldn't say like there was definitely some overreactions, but I think some of the little initial like worriedness is valid. I mean, we've seen it before. Like Carson Kelly broke his forearm last year on very similar to the same thing. Spring training injuries are always like scary. Like just seeing like especially anything around the hand, like some of those bones are so fragile. So I wasn't like sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, oh no, Walker's out for the season. But I was like, okay, like. I don't think it's like he shattered his hand. He's out for 4 months. But I was
just wait until the news actually comes out. Don't theorize as to what happened. Like with Kelly, we found out. Oh, he did fracture his arm. Okay, now we can act like the sky's falling. Which hindsight, it's a godsend. What happened with Kelly?
This guy's not falling, but I definitely think at least being like a little like, you know, especially like worried where especially when Torrey doesn't come out and Bannister comes out, like we have no updates. I'd be like, okay, like again, I'm not worried. This guy's not falling. It's still spring. Like probably just a precautionary thing, but it would have been there like I'd enjoy some news right about now. I'd like put my anxiety to rest, but
Yeah, I think
him
if
and
they would
Suarez
have
are
come
fine.
out with some news right away, I think that would have been the bad news. I think just the fact that they said like, "Oh, there's no update," so I mean that he clearly didn't have something broken, because when somebody breaks something, when they break something, like they can't move it, they can't grip or anything. So at least with the contusion, for people who don't know, it's a bone bruise. So it's like literally like the marrow inside your bone is like bruised. Those can be a little tricky. They might take a little bit longer at times to heal than you would think. We're not talking, weeks or whatever. He's probably going to be ready by the start of the spring start of the season. So he should be fine. Suarez had some tightness, right?
I think it was like some side tightness. I don't know if it was
Yeah,
oblique. I don't think it was oblique because those are usually pretty serious. I think it was just
yeah,
some
some
stiffness in
side
side.
soreness. So it's like everyone's restarting the trainings again and everything. So it's like could be something. Just might even be a cramp. I mean, I've gotten side cramps and stuff like that working. Like it happens. And then with I know Alec, he was having his soreness too on his right hand, right
Yeah, I
wrist.
think he
Yeah.
is having.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's like it's minor stuff, and as Tori has come out and said, like if the season was on, if we were in the playoffs, all these guys would probably be playing right now. But since it's spring, they can just take their time. They're like, whatever. These guys have their spot in the lineup anyways. Like
Like
they're
no
just
one's taking
confusing.
no one's taking those three.
Yeah. So
So it's nice that
yeah.
we don't have to worry about that. We do have a segment returning today because we have our producer extraordinaire, Josh. It is trivia time, ladies and gentlemen. Very excited about this because we don't know what the trivia is. Josh keeps that to himself, which I love, and it's kind of a spur of the moment reaction thing. So Josh did say that it's hard, but we should be able to get it. So Josh, make sure you jump on the stream so that we can hear you, and then let us know what the trivia is.
First off, I'm really glad you remind me because every single time
I was like, he's
stage,
not in the stream. He's not in the stream. So I'm like, Josh, jump in so we can hear you.
I'm like getting ready to unmute myself, and I'm not even on stage. So yeah. All right. Well, it's time for triple play trivia. All right. So we've got a question today that is themed over spring training. So it's not a multiple choice. You guys are going to have to know the name, which most people do know this person's name. So let's start with the question. So during spring training, who set the MLB record for most teams and positions played in spring training?
So is it? So I know the answer to this, or I think I do.
I'll give you a hint if you want. They did
no
play
hints.
for the Diamondbacks.
Oh, this is. Oh yeah. Do we got a buzzer?
So the thing is, the person I'm thinking isn't an actual baseball player.
Yeah, me too.
It was a funny bit, and I think it was for a movie that he was doing, but it was great. It was literally Will Ferrell. Like he went and played like for every team here in the Cactus League.
Yeah, I think he got
Got it.
traded for some. Like I think they were talking about it on the radio the other day. That he in the little transaction, that they had to do. Like he ended up getting traded for like the Dbacks dog, like at the time, like that 1.5 foot long hot dog or something like that. Which I was like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I believe he did
Technically, it
for-
was the D-back
for
dog
charity.
and the churro dog.
Ah, that's right. You mean Will Ferrell's not worth just the Dbacks dog. You got to make sure you're getting your value in that trade.
Yeah, I believe it was for charity. Also, I think there's the documentary on HBO Max. At least it used to be on there about the whole thing. It's about 45 minutes long, so if anybody's interested, go seek it out there. But yeah, it was hilarious. I love that whole
It
thing.
was
he
so
did.
bad.
That
It
incredible.
was so bad, but it was so entertaining to watch. Like it was great. I'm just so glad I got that trivia. Like that is my biggest fear when Josh does these trivia is that I don't know the answer. I'm like, oh, this just makes me look bad. But thank you for choosing one there that I got right away. Because initially I thought, what player? And I was like, wait a second. We had that Will Ferrell thing a couple years ago where he literally, in like the span of a week, played for every single Cactus League team. Like he did, like it was
my
hilarious.
actual answer. Like if it was going to be like a non-Will Ferrell answer, would 100% be Diego Castillo. He's already been on like 9 teams in the spring training alone.
This spring training, by the way,
Like this one.
Yeah, he's been DFA'd. Like it's been ridiculous here. So, but there's still so much spring training left. Like I think we're just over 2 weeks in. Dbacks play the Angels today. So if you do have MLB.TV, if you bought in Dbacks TV, like I have, you'll be able to at least watch the game on a TV broadcast. We've been a lot of not being able to see that lately, and it gets frustrating because I want to watch players like K-Rob. Like K-Rob had a homer a couple days ago. No one got to see it unless you were there.
You only get the Twitter videos of the fans and whoever's there with the decent camera at the time to actually record it.
So, I mean, opening day is in what 2-ish weeks because we have the Korea series, which is kind of weird for the Padres and Dodgers because
they play 2 games and they come back and then play a week of spring training games again.
Yeah, I was like, odd. Extremely odd.
The Dbacks didn't do that when they played in Sydney, right? When they
No, because they did it like 3 days before. I don't know why they decided to do like this week and a half before the rest of the league does it.
Is it maybe there was like some timing, like maybe the whatever area they wanted to play at was already booked for?
To be honest,
I think this is just the actual timing of it because Japan is almost like an entire day ahead of us. Same with Australia and stuff like that. So it's like if they go over there, they're trying to go on they're playing Friday. They have to get there, I guess, Wednesday our time, just so they can be there on Thursday.
So the first game's on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's at 6 o'clock Eastern time. What the hell? I'm not watching that game, y'all. I'm not waking up at 4. Yes. No. 6 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, so they'll probably be in the evening in Korea.
It sucks because I say that, but then I'm like, on one hand, I'm a Dodger hater, but on the other hand, I really want to see Yoshinobu Yamamoto pitch. Like, I want to see what that man, especially if I get to watch that man melt down against the Padres on opening day lineup. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
But
we'll just have to wait and see. But no, that's on March 20th, so it's about 2.5 weeks away. It'll be nice to watch like actual like full MLB games.
We're a couple of weeks away from having games, and Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery still haven't signed yet. It's crazy. The Cy Young Award winner can't. Also, Boris, like, what are you doing, baby? Like, $80 million for Cody Bellinger. They're going for 200, and then what's his face? Oh, shoot, the guy who just Chappie. They offered him over $100 million. The Blue Jays offered him $100 million plus. They said no.
He took 54.
It took a $50 million contract. Goddamn.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Sorry we couldn't go live, just the way things worked out, but hopefully everyone enjoys this episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future content. Make sure to check all of our socials in the description box below. It's going to be a very fun rest of spring training. Go Blaze. I'm on the Blaze hype wagon for sure. Until next time, see y'all later.